Happy Tuesday. Almost said happy Thursday
Happy
again.
Tuesday. And listen, it's getting
Tuesday.
cold. I was out with some clients for a little while doing some showings, and I officially have a Carhartt on and a hoodie. So
that's right.
Carhartt, official brand of what we wear, not sponsored, but I wear it. But we got Carhartts on. I got a lime Diet Coke, so I'm ready to go. And tonight,
Man, I'm super Colorado up. I got the coffee in the Buc-ee's.
Dude,
this is how we're doing it now.
You're ready to go. But let's get into it. I'm excited. Typically, we cover a lot of like commercial development, just a lot of what's been going on in Colorado, which has been a lot of fun, super interesting. But we're going to kind of like not necessarily switch it up, but just make sure we're still covering everything at length that matters, especially to locals that are looking at home ownership or new home ownership, and then folks that have been moving out of state coming into the state, right? But we're talking everything we think you need to know for the majority of the South Denver boom with master plan communities and things that are going on. So there'll be some commercial involved with that, but a lot of it also just master plan home community and just giving a great perspective on that tonight, man. So super excited for this. I was actually out there in some of these areas tonight, specifically Parker and Castle Rock, doing some of these showings. So it should be a lot of fun covering some of this.
Yeah, 100%. So before we dive into the specifics, I want to kind of set the stage and show you guys some of the areas that we're going to be diving into and why we're choosing to dive into these areas. And then we'll jump into the nitty-gritty of all of the new master plan communities that are popping up in these specific cities, what builders are building in there, what types of homes are going to be there, what price points you can expect, what shopping is nearby, what highway access looks like for each of these communities, and for at least the ones that we get tracked down, the builder incentives and some of the ridiculous deals that we're finding out there for going with these particular builders, especially on their quick move-in homes. And then we'll talk pros and cons of some of these areas, pros and cons of a quick move-in home versus dirt start build. So look at this as your all things new developments in the South Denver metro area live tonight. So to start off, I'm going to go ahead and share our screen here. One moment. There we go. Okay, perfect. So to give you guys a little bit of context on some of the areas that we are going to be covering, we're going to be diving into the South Denver metro horseshoe here. Now, let's talk what South Denver metro would be, because a lot of you guys, depending where you're coming from, like the city metro area might be the immediate neighborhoods within that city, right? Well, when it's referred to South Denver in Colorado, we're really talking anywhere within 30 to 40 minutes south of the actual city of Denver, not necessarily Denver specific neighborhoods. So to show you guys a little bit more of what that might look like, here we have downtown Denver right here at the top. And the communities that we're going to be focusing on tonight are going to be this west side 470 loop and south of there, all the way down to Castle Pines. And I'm going to go behind our heads here a little bit down to Castle Rock, and then up to some new communities here in Parker. And then before we dive into that, Will, do you want to give some context as far as just some of the major highways and freeways that people are going to be using if they're driving to any of these communities here?
100%. And I definitely want to highlight that we typically talk about a clock, right? So like if Denver were the center of a clock, we're talking anywhere from 8 o'clock over to 4 o'clock. Eli's going to like recoin my theories and call it a horseshoe and then draw that on the screen. It's like, we know what he's doing. We know what he's doing. It does help. The biggest thing that we talk about, Eli, if you can zoom in just a little bit, is, sometimes, if you look as far south as like a Castle Rock and compared to like, where that's at in comparison to, Denver, where you're seeing Denver on the map, it looks really far away. You can get there within 34 minutes. So I know it's a little deceiving, especially if you're not a local, but these things are super doable when it comes to travel. So when you're zooming in, you guys are seeing these different highways. The main thing I want you to look at is not just the highways, but even some of these smaller roads a little bit, and realize just how much commute opportunity you have in all aspects of whatever direction we're looking at today when it comes to these different master plan communities. So that's the biggest thing I like seeing, brother. When I've lived in California, when I've lived in Virginia, like it just, depending on where you're at, it's really hard. You can't really go anywhere unless you hop on the highway. Now, if you're going as far as Castle Rock, yeah, you're definitely going to be hopping on 83, or you're going to be hopping on I-25 and heading south. But when like when I lived in Southern California, you pretty much just have to hop on I-5 even to go 5 minutes. You don't have to do that in the Denver metro. You've got all of these different roadways that just give you opportunity. The benefit to that is it keeps a lot of local traffic from getting onto the highways, especially during traffic times of on your way to work or your way home from work, which definitely allows things to just be freed up, which is why our average, even during rush hour, our average mile per hour is in the 30s, right? So you never just sit there and stop. So definitely some great benefits. That's my main thing, Eli, that you're looking at. I know we're going to dive specifically, but you've got your horizontal one that goes across, which is 470. That'll take you around to the airport. It'll also take you west which is where you started. This is a great commute if you're not trying to go into the heart of Denver. If you're going to the airport, or if you're going to be going up north to the Broomfield Event Center or to Boulder, you don't necessarily have to commute through the heart of Denver anymore, which is also a huge plus.
Yep. And then this one that you guys are going to see running right down the middle, this is I-25. This is our major north-south highway. It pretty much divides the state into two east and west halves. And we wanted to point these out to start because we'll be referencing proximity to these highways quite a bit due to these different communities, because highway access is going to be very important for you guys depending on where you are going to be living. So let's go ahead and start off here. Let me clear this out and dive into the first community that we are going to be focusing on today. Now, the first community we're going to be diving into is located just out here.
By the way, while you're doing that, I'm plugging my computer into a better charger so I don't die on YouTube.
All good. There we go.
Forgive me if you guys see me messing around over here.
So we're going to call this out here. Let's just call it the West Foothills cluster. There are a couple communities that are going on out here. One of the first ones that we're going to talk about is Red Rocks Ranch. Now, Red Rocks Ranch, I'm going to pull up their website right now for you guys, is specifically a community built by Lennar. Let me go ahead and share. So right here, as you guys can see, we'll dive into incentives, but this is one of the things that they're talking about, Cyber Week deals. But Red Rocks Ranch, I'm going to show you here on the map exactly where this is located. So we've got 470 that is running right through here, if you kind of trace my mouse. And then Red Rocks Ranch is located right in this little pocket that you're going to have right here, just above Highway 8. Now, technically, this is
real quick. This is a super important comment. I just want to cut you off really quick. So we've got a comment asking to talk about crime rates, crime statistics in the area. I think many people would love to know. Hey, we definitely agree. I will let you know, because we're licensed realtors, it's not legally allowed for us to actually discuss crime statistics. However, if you guys contact us, we can throw a phone number up. We can throw a QR code up on the screen. If you guys want to contact us directly, what we can do is direct you to some websites that are all Colorado-based that can give you the statistics that you're looking for, specifically per city, per county, whatever you like. I used to be in law enforcement. I was a police officer for a long time prior to real estate. Stuff like this is super important. We agree. We just legally can't talk about these things because we are licensed brokers, right? So a little bit of limiting perspective there. Forgive us. It's just a licensing thing. But again, happy to help and give you any resource that you might need. Just throw us a text on this number here, and we will respond to you and make sure that whatever you'd like, whatever resources you'd like to dive into that, we get you guys set up.
Perfect.
Hey, but by the way, man, and Roger, that thank you as well. This is a great question. So this imagination freak, like, man, I really appreciate you asking this, because it is a great question. Believe it or not, we get this comment in some of our recorded videos, but then they don't go back and look at our reply to their comment. But
100%.
Man, it's so important, because we don't want to give the impression that we're dodging anything. Every major city has its crime and things like that. It's more of a legality, but what an important question. I'm really glad you brought that up tonight, because that gives us the opportunity to make sure we get you guys resources that you need. So thank you again for that question.
Yep. Perfect. So Red Rocks Ranch here, guys. One unique thing about this is, with this being Morrison, is this is the only development that has happened in Morrison in a very long time. Now, if you look just on the west side of the highway, you're going to see this little rock formation right here. Now, this is something called Red Rocks Amphitheater. You guys may be familiar with this. This is what Morrison is known for, purely is Red Rocks. Okay, which is why this new development that was popping up here from Lennar was such a big deal, because you just can't find new builds in Morrison. Morrison is a very, very small area. You guys can see right here, this is the entire city of just kind of old, dated mountain homes that aren't really doing much in terms of resale. But people love being out here because of the proximity to Red Rocks, which is notably like one of the best outdoor amphitheaters literally in the world. So being able to find something this close to Red Rocks and Morrison, you're going to have views for days. This is a big draw for a lot of people, which is one of the reasons we wanted to feature it on our live today. And then one thing worth noting about Red Rocks Ranch, you guys can see here with some of the video that is playing, it is a fairly small community. So you're not going to find your big clubhouses, your big community pools and things like that. Nature is your clubhouse and community pool if you're going to be living out here. So keep that in mind. Now, as far as the builder out here, again, it is Lennar. The homes that are out here are starting in the, I would say, mid nines to low millions. And the idea out here is you are going to have smaller lots. A lot of these do back to open space. But again, regardless of where you live out here, you are pretty much as close as you can get to the mountains. So you're going to have some views. Lastly, as far as their incentives, they have some ridiculous quick move-in specials right now where they're offering up to like $100,000 below asking price on some of their quick move-ins. And then on top of that, they do have lender incentives. So if you go with the builder's lender, which people traditionally do on builders, you can also do a rate buy down. They didn't disclose exactly what their rate buy down is, but they do have lender incentives in addition to $100K off of their quick move-in homes.
Correct. Now, Eli, something on this that's going to be congruent across all builders is everyone just needs to understand they have different buyer contracts with new construction. When you buy a home that's pre-existing, we utilize the Colorado state contracts, everything that's, from the licensed realtor side, everything is consistent there. Builders have their own contracts. Generally, there's some similarities, and it's not because they're being bad guys, but you guys just have to understand they're going to be structuring their contracts that favor themselves, that are verbiage with hard earnest money and pre-approvals and just where things go hard, things like that, as far as like not hard as in where things go non-refundable. We do probably 50 to 60 new builds a year out of all the contracts that we do pre-existing. We do at least 50 to 60 a year that are new builds alone. We've got great relationships with new builders, but the contract is a little bit different. The process, depending on how early you are in that build, as far as like making changes, as far as certain inspections that you would like to get independent from the builder's inspection. So the drywall inspections, the routing of electrical inspections, these are things that, we're present for. We recommend you're present for as well, but if you can't be, that's okay. We show up to those and just making sure that outlets are properly marked and they're going where they're supposed to. Trying to catch that stuff later in the process, it's just not doable. Gas lines where they're supposed to be routed for your back patio, things like that. We want to make sure that are good to go. So again, the contract is just structured a little bit differently. It's a builder's contract versus your Colorado state contract. And then some of the process when you're just getting a home built, depending on the phase that it's in, does just entail a little bit more. So you definitely want to make sure that you guys are protected there and that you've got representation with somebody that's familiar. So whether you're working with us or with someone else, just make sure you're familiar. Obviously, we'd love to earn that business from you. And then main thing is just also making sure that you understand builders are happy to pay realtors. That's not coming out of your pocket. They're happy to pay for it because they appreciate the representation and how smooth things go with realtors if clients are represented versus the headaches that can happen when they're not while builders are trying to build homes. So either way, just make sure you understand a pre-existing home to new construction contracts and things as far as step-by-step, it just goes a little bit differently.
And then I did just see on their site here, they did show it where they've got a, for their quick move-in homes, a fixed rate for a conventional loan of 3.875. And then if it's an FHA loan, a fixed rate of 3.75. I mean, that is crazy considering right now that everyone else is paying still 6.25 to 6.5. I mean, that literally might be $1,000 a month savings right there. I won't jump into the calculator right now, but that is a ton of savings that they have. And that is one of the biggest reasons that we're doing as many new builds as we can right now, because people are still paying COVID rates right now with new builds. It's crazy. Now, let's move into community number 2. So coming back to our map, again, to show you guys where we were, let me go ahead and share the screen. Show you guys where we were. We were in this little pocket just up here by 470. Here's Red Rocks Ranch right here. So what we're going to do, let's jump in our invisible little cars and we're going to take 470 down south here. We're going to come all the way down south to just south of Chatfield State Park. There is a community right here called Solstice. We just did a feature of this on Saturday. If you watched our Saturday video, our latest post. Before we dive into Solstice, I want to give you guys a preview of just what Chatfield State Park is. So Chatfield is a quite a big. Oh no, what's that? Go ahead.
He said, "Love these guys are prior military, prior police." He goes, "Previous astronaut." No, I missed.
That's awesome.
However, I did score a 138 on my IQ exam.
He did.
Exam, a 138. So I might have had it, but I fell in love with Eli in the business world, and we do the realtor thing now. And
that's hilarious.
But I had to throw that in there because I rubbed my IQ exam on Eli.
I am straight civilian, full disclosure. No astronaut background. Although I'm sure there is a good getting high joke in there somewhere. The running joke is that when Will was a cop, he arrested me for some charges we won't say. And when I was in the back of the squad car, I convinced him to get into real estate with me. That's
worked. But listen, in addition to that, we've also got a lot of inspectors that are licensed inspectors that are also prior Marines and prior military. Yeah. We've kind of done a great thing with our small business and just giving back to the veteran community. But not to cut you off for the second time, Eli.
No, that was worth it. That was worth it. That was good.
Gotta throw my IQ out there, buddy.
So Chatfield State Park, guys, is really desirable because Colorado does not have a lot of water. Surprise, surprise, right? We're an arid community. We're the mountains. We don't have a lot of water. So any big
bodies. We have a ton of water when it comes to like how it's available for drinking and for the state.
Sure,
we actually feed 4 other states. As far as recreational, we just don't have a lot of water compared to San Diego.
Right? Correct. Yeah. Things you can go swim in are limited. Even more so boating and, doing those sort of things. So there are quite a bit up north near Fort Collins and things like that. So keep that in mind. But this one is really desirable because Chatfield is one of like 2 major bodies of water on the south side where you can go and you can take a motorized boat out there and go and have some fun, do some wakeboarding, do some tubing, all the fun lake activities you can do. They also have a great outdoor shooting range, huge campsites. It is a big, massive state park. So below that, right here, this community called Solstice is a Shea Homes community, and they are the only builder there, just like Lennar is up at the Red Rocks Ranch one. Shea Homes, guys, is one of the more notoriously high-end builders, I would say, here in Colorado. You'll see them up on par with maybe slightly better than even a Toll Brothers. So they are very desirable. And also, when you're looking at more luxury type of homes, all things considered, they are also, one of I think more affordable than what you might think would be for luxury homes.
Bang for buck, they're great, man. We just got done with a couple of clients on some Shea Homes up here that we got under contract. We also just did a full tour with Shea Homes not too long ago. I think you guys are going to see that. I think this
that was Saturday. That just posted. Yep.
Phenomenal builder so far. We've done a handful with them in the past 12 to 24 months. Great relationship so far. I do think Toll Brothers is still a great build, not to be partial. They're still a great build. And I think depending on the community, you find Toll Brothers. I think where they've expanded is you will find Toll Brothers even being a little bit more luxury than its common self, depending on the neighborhood. Right. But then they've also got just some of these, but Shea is awesome. I mean, the just the upgrades that they have. I mean, the finished basements are offering. And not only are they offering finished,
I'm glad you brought that up.
We talk about different upgrades. Right? When we're helping clients and we're talking about these things, it's like, hey, what's worth getting done from the builder? What's not? Well, basements have just for the past at least 2 years just haven't even been an option from the builder. They just weren't doing them. So that was a thing. But even when they were a thing, prior to that, and then now that Shea's doing them, we do think getting a basement is worth it because the amount of price that they're charging you is reasonable. It's also a part of your loan. And when you're getting a low interest rate and you're borrowing money at such a low rate and you can wrap it into your loan and what they're charging is reasonable, it's really a win-win. And when you move in, it's done versus getting this done on the outside. Now, depending on other finishes or things that you want to do in the future, yes, sometimes builders just do charge too much for some upgrades that you can get done independently, whether it's through people that we know or your other sources that you might have. But basement was the big standout for me, brother, especially in these communities with Shea Homes with, again, the price, it's wrapped up in your loan. They've got incentive with great low interest rates. What a great win that just not a lot, if any, builders are doing that.
Mm-hmm. So what Will's referencing here, guys, is the Shea Home quick move-ins that we featured last Saturday. They were right around just shy of $1 million, like right around 950. And unlike 99% of builders out there, they had finished basements included in that price, which is, again, just really pretty much unheard of for builders to do. Not unheard of, but it's really rare that they do those things. I'm going to start a little video over again. So as you guys are looking at this here, it is like just surrounded by nature, surrounded by water. And I love that it is just tucked in this little pocket within Chatfield. So this is Chatfield Lake that you can see right in front of us. And then once it cuts to the next scene, you're going to see how Solstice is built in this little pocket. So this is going to be a private community. You do have a pool and a clubhouse and those sort of amenities that you like to see in a master plan community. But it's not going to be as busy as a lot of some of the others. Again, it's a little bit more low key, a little bit more slow paced here. But the deals that they have here, looking at good luxury builders, you're looking at sub $1 million. You're looking at finished basements on those. Home prices, they have them on their site starting in, it says high 600s to 800s. Really, I'd plan on the high 800s and up if you're looking for something decent with that finished basement. Agreed. Now, as far as some of their incentives that they have here, what they're doing is they're offering what they call flex cash, which could be anywhere from 60,000 to 75. That flex cash could be used to buy down your interest rate, apply for a 2-1 buy down, and we'll discuss what a 2-1 buy down is, or use that to cover part of your closing costs. The other thing that these guys did that I really like was they do backyard landscaping, and not just generic put some sod and rock down, but a brick area for your fire pit, some real like I don't know if it's like sandstone, but some real like stone steps coming down your backyard stairs, just far from the traditional we just put in some sod in the backyard.
It's nice. And I'll tell you, man, it might not seem like a huge deal, right? But when you're a new homeowner and you're getting in there and these little things, a landscape or a nice little fire pit area outside, like getting those resources once you move in, et cetera, like they can be really hard. And like, you got to get your contractor there. Obviously we can help you guys source those things, but either way, like when they're getting done prior to you moving in, especially at the rates that you guys can get with these homes, they're awesome. One thing I want to talk about before I get to this next comment in the live, from Warrior 9152. We'll get to you here in just a quick sec. What I love about this spot, Eli, is you're literally right by the Chatfield Reservoir, but you're also not too far from Roxborough Park and literally the mountains, Lookout Mountain. You're not too far from Red Rocks Amphitheater. But, for the longest time, it was just hard to get there, and you've got C470. So if we show that map again, we can kind of show Denver and C470 and then, where that's at. But the benefit, guys, is your toll lane and your expansion to C470 are complete all the way around. So what do I mean by that? Well, prior to the expansion being done, I think it's been done for about a year now, it was C470. Once you were on the west side of I-25, it was literally a 2-lane road going west and a 2-lane road going east. And there was never a time, in the morning or late afternoons that you were not going to be really congested. I mean, it was significantly worse than any highway close to downtown Denver, significantly. Well, now you've got 3 to 4 lanes wide, traditional. You've got a toll lane that a lot of people like to use, cost you a couple bucks if you guys want to use that. But a lot of people do, whether you're using it or not. The point is, it has really expanded and just broadened that traffic lane to where, brother, I'm getting all the way down past University. So I live in Southeast Aurora, which is on the other opposite side of 470. I can get down to Solstice and all of these areas in about 36 minutes. I mean, it's really made a lot of change. So what I really love about this area, Eli, is not only are you getting some beautiful areas and some great homes, but the commute has also like it's good. You know what I mean? Like it's also livable. You've got Santa Fe, that's not too far, so you don't necessarily have to take C470 all the way around if you want to cut on Santa Fe or University or Broadway. You've got plenty of access, right? But the commute and just the traffic expansion has been my favorite parts. Hey, Semper Fi, brother. It says, let's see here. So if my wife made me put 2 kids in Mullen, what neighborhood should I target that is nice houses that maybe I get a discount because the high school isn't well regarded? Asking for a friend. Yeah, for sure. I'll respond for a friend. Hey, Mullen is believe it or not, like I'm a native of Colorado. Eli's almost a native of Colorado. Mullen's been significantly competitive with sports. They competed with Cherry Creek and some other private schools in Denver. They've got a lot of exciting things that are coming. So, I'm excited for Mullen as it's venturing forward. You're also not too far from Christian Valor High School. My daughter goes to Regis. You've got Regis High School. Those are some options. But more specifically, there are some exciting things that you guys can look forward to when it comes to Mullen. But per that question, we're actually not too – I know we're going to bounce back in, Eli, if we can kind of show some of that stuff, maybe even pull it on a separate map. But there are some great areas. And, just to keep in mind, some of these areas that you think might be too far if you're going to be enrolling your kids in Mullen, believe it or not, because of the expansion to our traffic – even something like a Solstice, if you're taking C470 down to Broadway or University, and then you head north into Denver, it's really not as bad of a commute as you might think. Now, for me, 30 to 35 minutes is okay. I drive a lot being in real estate. That might not be doable for you guys. So obviously some of this is subjective, but believe it or not, you've got a lot of opportunity that could be great for you. And matter of fact, brother, if you text that number, Eli, throw our number up. This is us, brother. We respond to it. We answer the phone calls, the text messages. What we can do is we can also just get you some area guides specifically to every area that we think could be a great fit for you. I only have one kidney. I know. Hey, listen, our daughter goes to Regis, but we were able to find some great scholarships and some great grants. So depending on like your military background and everything else, like, also mention that you're looking at Mullen or other schools. My wife did a great job finding scholarships and grants for our daughter. Maybe we can pass some of those on to you and let you use that either for Mullen or any other school that you're looking at. But I think best fit, in addition to us talking a little bit tonight, is also going to be some of these area guides that we can send your way. So just mention that when you throw us a text, if you don't mind.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. Or even just, hey, here's all the homes that feed into Mullen. And honestly, not to get too distracted, but just while we're on it.
Yeah, but Mullen's a private school, Eli, so they can really like live wherever they want.
Yeah, so that's what I was getting at. So Mullen is right around here and literally just down 285. This is that Red Rocks Ranch area that we were talking about.
Correct.
There are a couple of other communities that are popping up right along here. So you're a quick jaunt down 285, yet you're still on the west side there where you do have some new builds. You're not going to have a whole lot of new build communities right around here. But like Will said, with it being private, if you're good, like I think this would be a good spot worth checking out. So definitely throw us a text and we can help dive into it for you.
Absolutely. But great question. And man, this is why we love these lives. We can literally dive in and just answer some of your guys' questions that you're watching. But great question. And Mullen's got some exciting stuff going on. I wouldn't necessarily turn the cheek on Mullen. They've got some good stuff going on.
So now if we go ahead and come just a little bit, I mean, 5 minutes south of Solstice, you're going to come down here into this community right here called Sterling Ranch.
Eli, real quick, before we get to Sterling Ranch, can you zoom out a little bit just so we can see Denver again and then just kind of like recalibrate everybody to where we started and then where we're at now? So there's Denver.
There we go.
Perfect. Yeah. Would you mind just kind of like circling where we started in Morrison right there?
Yeah.
And then how we're kind of like moving southeast now down into like the Roxborough Park / Sterling Ranch area?
So we've got Denver right here. We started right here in Morrison and Ken Carl area. Let's call it Westside Foothills. And then we took 470 down and we hit Solstice right here. And now we are in Sterling Ranch.
Amazing.
Yep. And then we're kind of on our way down here to Castle Rock. But this specific area down here now, this is going to be technically a Littleton address. So I do think that's important to know because you're not going to feel like you're a part of Littleton, right? But this is technically a Littleton address and even goes to show why this is Douglas County School District down here. So Littleton address, but not Littleton schools. Douglas County School District, usually in the top 3 to 4 for the top 5 best school districts in the Denver metro area. So keep that in mind.
Sterling Ranch is still going to Douglas County School.
Correct. Yep. Same with Solstice.
Littleton address. Now I'm curious too, and we don't have the answer to this yet, but Eli, as they develop more in Sterling Ranch, I know they've got some schools that are still being built that are still coming. I wonder if in the next year or 2 years or 3 years, if there will be this changing of the guard because enough schools will be built to support Sterling Ranch. Now, what I will say is Douglas County school districts graded very well. Littleton school districts graded very well. Both of those are typically in the top 5 to top 6 in all of Colorado. Colorado as a whole is graded pretty high as well. So either way, like you're not in a bad spot, one or the other, you should be pretty good.
Yeah, and to answer that question, they are slated to build a new school here. It's still going to be a couple years out. It will eventually be K through 12, but they're going to be starting it off with K through 8. Once they have that filled up, then they'll bump it to K through 12. But for now, kids are going to Thunder Ridge High School, which is in Highlands Ranch. And here's what's nice about that is you do have this brand new community that is ever growing, yet you have an established, well-respected high school in Highlands Ranch that your kids are going to be going to. So keep that in mind with Sterling Ranch, but there is going to be a new K-8 coming out there.
Very cool.
Now,
And then, Rock Canyon and Dakota Ridge, also great options, and again, wherever we can help with that, with Wyatt or with you, with some of the information, or just some of our experience recently with some of our clients that actually have kids that are going to those schools, wherever we can help, brother, happy to do it.
Yep, 100%. Now, Sterling Ranch, guys, this is slated to be its own little city coming up here, right? It's got a ways to go, but the way that they're building this, it is going to be its own little ecosystem. So I just want to read this here real quick for you guys. So it says, at build out, Sterling Ranch will be home to more than 12,000 new residences, sweeping across 9 unique villages, aka micro neighborhoods, all radiating outward from an amenity-rich town center and grand civic gathering place. Pedestrian-friendly planning and design focus on connecting 30 miles of trails, 1,300 acres of beautiful open space, and access to 2 state parks and 3 regional parks. Those 2 state parks being Chatfield State Park and Roxborough State Park, which is also freaking gorgeous. And if you guys are familiar with Garden of the Gods, this is like a diet Garden of the Gods that has very low foot traffic. And I don't know why, but it's one of the most underrated state parks that I think we have out here.
It's amazing. And when you're talking 12,000 homes, I mean, how many homes are in Highlands Ranch? 20,000, 15,000?
Yeah, probably about 15.
Yeah, I mean, they're literally talking about Sterling Ranch being the size of Highlands Ranch almost. I mean, this is incredible. But what's great, guys, is they've also made it this smart city, right? So inside of one of your like community centers, you've got a UC Health Center. You've got a restaurant. You've got some other recreational things. You've got dentistry. You've got commercial stuff. It's really cool how they've done that. It's also like a smart city. So, for example, if let's say a kid is missing in the neighborhood, little kid maybe got lost, was riding his bike, they literally use street lights to flash certain colors so the entire neighborhood knows what alert there is or what's going on or to be on the lookout for something. They recycle rainwater. They literally rewrote Colorado state law because of how well Sterling Ranch brought this to the boards. They used the professors at Purdue University, I'm pretty sure, and did all of this great research, and they did all the disclosures to the process and how it works. And it was so well done. Colorado actually changed its law and said, hey, you know what? For you guys and for this program over here, for this community, we're going to allow it. So they recycle rainwater here. So when we talk smart community and where these newer style of master plan communities are going, especially in states like Colorado, where you can kind of hack it because we've got enough resource and we've got the soil for it, we've got the water for it, things like that. Like it's great. I'm not sure how much you're recycling rainwater in Arizona, right? Like, I don't know. But with Colorado, a lot of these things are possible, but this is where a lot of like our master plan communities are going to be going in the next 5 years. Sterling Ranch is really setting the tone. They've also got 1 gig of like fiber optic directly routed and mounted to every single home in Sterling Ranch. So when it comes to your ability to work from home or just the internet's performance, et cetera, also very well done. So things like this are awesome. These smart master plan communities we're definitely fans of as far as like just how well it takes care of the home. A lot of folks work from home, so the resourcefulness of those things are going to be great. And then obviously as they continue to build more schools, I'm sure there'll be a transition there as far as like which part is still a part of Douglas, which part gravitates to Littleton. But again, both very solid.
They are. Now, what you're going to find out here, because you guys can see it is very developed already, right? It still has a long way to go, but it is very developed. But I want to show you guys this picture just to show you guys how close it is to the mountains. And we've had a lot of clients move out here, guys, and all we hear about is how great it is going on the walks, how much community there is there, how many activities there are, how close they're getting with their neighbors. But this picture isn't exaggerated. This is what it looks like out there.
This is not AI.
No, it's not AI. Right.
I'm really me. See, now, I still don't have hair. Now, Eli's hair might be AI. And it looks
it is. Yeah.
Mine's not. It's not AI.
It's a zoom filter here. Now, Sterling Ranch is where you're going to find the biggest variety of homes and the biggest options for you guys. So you're going to have a lot of builders out there. Lennar, Taylor Morrison, Dream Finders, Pulte, Toll Brothers, Richmond, Meritage, KB, TrueMark, TriPoint, New Home Co. Pretty much all the builders that are out here are building in Sterling Ranch. So what that means is that you're going to have a lot of variety with price point and styles of homes. You're going to have
correct. In addition to that, Eli, when you and I were still doing all the content for Sterling Ranch, We were working with a lot of the VPs and the directors for Sterling Ranch. We were covering and helping with a lot of their video content with Tom
Correct.
Martinez and all those guys. While we were out there and being part of the front piece of helping the development, something that was very interesting that the owners of Sterling Ranch talked about. Builders that are allowed to build here, the Taylor Morrisons, the Toll Brothers, the Richmond's American, the Pulte, everybody that Eli talked about, the floor plans and models have to be exclusive to Sterling Ranch. Mm-hmm. So these are not going to be homes that you see in other master plan communities, et cetera, et cetera. There are changes to them. There are differences, and there were certain requirements that Sterling Ranch itself wanted to have, to where even though they were going to have a builder that's in other areas of Colorado, they wanted things to be exclusive to Sterling Ranch's location, and then obviously what's offered there. I thought that was a really cool touch. Pulte's done a great job, Eli, with those rooftop decks. Yep. On a lot of their three-story homes. Some people like them, some people don't. Some floor plans are a little unique, where the main floor is more for entertaining. We've covered some of those as well, but even some of those rooftop decks with Pulte have been great, right? So definitely something that's interesting.
Yeah, 100%. So with the variety of homes, you're going to have a variety of price points. So you're going to find things there as low as mid-5s for some townhomes, all the way up to just over $1 million. They're still not getting too crazy out there. You're not seeing much past like a 1.1 or I think maybe 1.2 max for a good size home, good size lot, with some good views as well. And with all the builders that they have out there, you've got literally nothing but incentives and negotiating power, especially right now, while interest rates are on the rise, or aren't coming down yet, right? They're not rising anymore. They're not on the rise. They've been on the rise for a long time. But while they're still high, you're seeing a lot of interest rate incentives. You're seeing a lot of the 2-1 buy downs. And let me talk on that real quick, because one of the builders out here, Dreamfinder specifically, they do have a 3-2-1 buy down going on right now for some specific homes. So to give you guys an example of what that looks like, here's the rundown of what a 2-1 buy down. I think it's one of the best mortgage products that there is. So I want to be clear, this is not a variable interest rate loan. A lot of you guys get afraid thinking it's a variable interest rate, and we all know what happened with those back, pre-market crash in 2008. But essentially what this is this. So let's say that the par rate for today is 6%, right? If you have a 3-2-1 buy down, that means you get a 3% discount on the first year. So you're going to be at 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. So it'll be 3% for your first year, right? Your second year, you'll have a 2% discount. So you'll be at 4% for your entire second year. Your third year, you'll be at a 1% discount. So you'll be at 5% interest. And then from year 4 through 30, now you're going to be at your fixed rate of 6, or sometimes they'll cap it at 5.
Are you talking the 2-1 buy down?
Correct. Yes.
Yeah. So that should just cover the 2 years though, right? Like first year, you're at the 1% of the 2%. Second year, you're 1% discount. And then through the third year, you end up going back to the regular, correct?
The 3% discount first year, the 2% discount second year, 1% discount the third year, and then it goes fixed.
So the 3% discount on the first year, are they calling that a 2-1 buy down still? Because that would
3-2-1. That's a 3-2-1.
That's a 3-2-1. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yep.
I thought you were adding your. And Eli, before we move forward, I know we got a couple questions. I always like getting to these on the lives.
Yeah.
I know we got a lot to cover, but this is why they're on here, and I love it. Any news on Dawson Trails home development in southern Castle Rock? It's where the new Costco is going up. I know we just did a regular video down there talking Castle Rock, but Eli, any updates on that you've seen?
Man, not yet. That part is still super, super early. I'll bring up the site while this is up here real quick. So we are diving into Castle Rock next. Let me go ahead and share this right here. We have not featured this quite yet on the channel, but Dawson Trails. Yeah. So this is going to be popping up in the southern Castle Rock area, which we'll dive into some of those. And looking at this, I mean, this is going to be very typical to like what you're seeing here with any of these builds. Like, for example, Sterling Ranch had, 30 miles of trails. These guys have 25, 2,000 acres of open space. And you see right here, here's a quick site plan where we have I-25 running up and down the east side here. And what's most exciting about this development, guys, is that there currently is like almost nothing on this west side of I-25. You pretty much just have the Meadows is the biggest development on the west side here.
Is that all that? Yeah, that's on the west side.
Correct. Yep. The Meadows is the only thing on the west side currently. Prior to this,
right?
So this is honestly like super exciting that this is all coming in here.
And they're also changing like the exit. This is the one where we've also got like a new exit that's coming in as well. That's going to really help traffic.
Yeah, but not a whole lot of information. See, like right now, they're not even showing like who the builders are right now. I'm sure we can dive into it and find it, but it's just very, very early right now. So as they have some more developments pop up with the development, we'll definitely dive into it for you guys.
And then do the STRs. Are the STRs having problems riding large in Colorado? Present opportunities for purchasing houses in established communities.
STRs, short-term rentals. I'm guessing that means short-term rentals. Having problems riding large in Colorado, present opportunities for purchasing homes in established communities.
As in like our short-term rentals, like hurting neighborhoods or something like that, as far as like in communities. Brother, if you wouldn't mind just clarifying a little bit, happy to answer that question as well.
Yeah, maybe they meant laws. Yeah, we'll come back to that one.
Yep. And there's definitely some laws on short terms as far as like Airbnbs and things like that in the city and county of Denver. You've got little pockets in Centennial that some allow, some don't, but then you've got places like Castle Rock and abroad that do allow a lot more. But Denver's definitely interesting.
Yeah, honestly, short-term rentals are a little bit difficult in Colorado because, Denver is just very resident. They're protective of the residents there, right? And honestly, I don't necessarily think that's that bad of a play.
He's asking like if the Airbnbs themselves have a hard time being occupied.
Yeah, man, I think here's what I would say in Denver. Yes, because they're hard to come by because if it's not your primary property as an owner, you can't do an Airbnb in Denver. It's got to be your primary property. That's why you see a lot of bedrooms for rent on Airbnb. Or if it is a full unit, it's someone that's got to live there 51% of the time. And if they don't live there 51% of the time, then you will see the whole unit. But yeah, it is a little bit tricky with those. But if you are looking for something like that, places that do allow it have way better opportunities, like a Castle Rock, where you can own a short-term rental down there. Single family.
Denver funnel a lot. People tend to search Denver mainly like because they don't necessarily know where to start. But then as they filter themselves through, you see a lot because you do have some great midterm rentals in some of the surrounding areas around Denver. A lot of higher price points tend to have some longer ones as well. But we've also got some great livability here. We've had a huge increase in just buyers. So I'd be curious to see some of that data. I'm sure we could pull it. We don't focus a ton on short-term rentals. We've got a couple of investors that work with us, and when we find things off market, they purchase those for long-term rentals and things like that. A lot of times prior clients have homes that just aren't typical for on market, and they're fixer-uppers, and some of them are big. But we could definitely pull some data, dude, and get that sent over to you in addition to bullets.
Yeah. We'll be curious to see sort of the future of what happens with short-term.
You only got one kidney, right, bro? Like you only got one kidney. Like you want to do a renters? Like I don't know, man. Let's get you in Castle Rock and get you nice on the back porch and enjoying some coffee. Don't do rentals, bro.
Now, what we're going to do here, guys, moving right along, we are going to continue down south. So just to kind of set the stage again, here is Sterling Ranch. What we're going to do is we're going to take this back way, Highway 85, also known as Santa Fe, and this is going to take us right down here into Castle Rock. Okay. Now, Castle Rock, if you guys are familiar with our channel at all, you know that we are huge fans of Castle Rock for a number of reasons. My primary reasons for loving Castle Rock is, I've said this for probably close to 10 years now. I still feel like Castle Rock is one of the most undervalued cities that is in Colorado. Reason being the amount of new builds and deals that they have down there, the great master plan communities, the overall just Castle Rock culture that you're going to have. And that in conjunction with the nature that they have down there, the Colorado scenery, the bluffs, the foothills, the rocks, and the commercial developments, I think it is one of the biggest hidden gems still in Colorado.
It's huge. So you guys are going to see an increase in listings as well. So just to answer that question as well, like with, hey, perhaps our investors going to unload some STRs, to increase availability. Potentially, we see a lot of them buying more right now as far as like more of the investment.
They're just going long term. Yeah, they're just going long term.
They're going long term. But what you're going to see, guys, is inventory is low a little bit because interest rates were high for 3 years, right? So people just gave up on selling their home because our economy is good here. They weren't hurting. The people that have homes that want to sell, they're sitting on 2%, 3%, 4% interest rates. They don't have to sell, right? So A lot of people pulled their homes off the market when they weren't getting the money they quite wanted. They felt like they could just hold on to them longer till the market makes a shift and they could sell later. That's been the narrative for the past 3 years with higher interest rates. Well, now interest rates are decreasing. They're going to continue to decrease in 2026. Well, mortgage applications are already up 30%.
Yep.
And some of those mortgage applications that are up, some of that 30% are not just new homeowners. They're people that also currently own a home. So you're already starting to see people come out of the woodwork. We've got handfuls of clients that have purchased with us that are already starting to re-ask about, hey, what does it look like after the holidays going back on market? So I think a lot of where you're going to get more inventory before investors that love having their long-term rentals as far as their investment portfolios to have a short-term or mid-term, rental opportunities, they tend to hold on to those for a while. But where you're going to see a significant increase in availability is just the rates becoming decreasing and people realizing that selling their home has become more possible.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Good rundown there, man.
Yeah, Morrison and Evergreen. Dude, text me on the side. I could talk to you all night, brother.
So what we're going to touch on in Castle Rock here, we're going to go South Castle Rock because there are 2 new developments down here. This one right here, which is Montaine. This is exclusively a Toll Brothers community. And then just to the right of that, you've got Crystal Valley, okay, right here off of Crystal Valley Parkway. Now, these are 2 amazing communities. It's on the south side. You've got views for days in a lot of these areas. But what has kept this kind of a sleeper city, a sleeper community, both of these, is currently the way that the highway is structured is to get down to these communities, you need to, come down I-25 or come up I-25. You need to exit Plum Creek, and then you need to take this little side road all the way down here to Crystal Valley Parkway, and then you can get into your neighborhoods, okay? This is adding an extra 6-7 minutes onto your commute, right? That might just be a little bit far for people because it's already on the south side of Castle Rock. Well, now the biggest thing that's been happening is they are putting in a new interchange right here, and it is so close to being done. So you're going to have direct access to Crystal Valley Parkway directly from I-25. And then on top of that, what is going to bring so many more people down to this area, which is then going to expose them to these 2 neighborhoods, is this new development over here where we are getting a Costco.
Correct.
That new Dawson Creek development that we just mentioned, and tons more commercial. Right now, there's nothing bringing people down to this area to even find out that these communities exist. So once this happens, the Costco comes in and the new interchange is in, I think these 2 neighborhoods right here are going to explode in value.
They're going to be great, and it's still a great landmark. You've got plenty of feeling like you're still in the mountains in South Castle Rock. South Castle Rock, guys, if you continue I-25 south all the way down, it's going to bring you into the north, Colorado Springs, the Air Force Academy, et cetera, et cetera. That's still just under an hour away. That's pretty far south. But from Castle Rock all the way through Colorado Springs and even beyond that, you have mountain views. It's amazing. It's beautiful. And a lot of times you feel like you're kind of tucked into the root of the mountains. It's super beautiful. But I love the commercial side as far as like the Costco's and things coming, adding these exits because it just allows flow of traffic to be consistent. It also breaks up the shopping. Folks that are down there right now that don't have that Costco, they're going up to Central and North Castle Rock to get their shopping done, which is just going to overflow that on the weekend, et cetera, et cetera. But now that things are going to diversify a little bit and there's just more opportunity to shop per location on where you're at in Castle Rock, it's just going to make things less populated as far as like, if you live south, central, or north, where you're shopping, et cetera, et cetera. So really excited for this. And obviously, as you guys can see, Castle Rock is pretty much a big valley that's kind of like broken out as you're approaching west into the mountains. And it's, you overlook and you can see all the way through Pikes Peak, which is amazing. So that's Pike Peak. So Eli, if you stay right there, nope. Zoom out, go back. Because that's all of Castle Rock right there.
Yep.
So you guys kind of
got Crystal Valley right here. Yep.
Correct. We'll get to Crystal Valley in a second, but guys, we're pretty much looking almost directly south right now, a little southwest. But this is literally a bird's eye view. If you're the eagle flying south, right, southwest, this is like that open valley. You see all these like hills and valleys that are all elevated. These are all the mountains that you kind of get into in Castle Rock. Obviously, if you go a little bit more to the right of your screen, you got the big mountains, but this is that open valley that's a little bit more of a flatland that's kind of tucked in where all of this development's been happening. Eli, you're right next to with your cursor to Castle Rock, which is that little rock right there by the highway, just to your left. If you go more left.
Right. Oh yeah, right here.
right there. That's the rock.
Yep. No, I don't think it is it? Nope.
Yes.
Let's see here. It's got to be over. Let's see. I'm going to zoom out a little bit.
Am I off? Or is it? Oh, that's right. It's on the other side of the highway.
Yeah, so here it is right here. This is the Castle Rock right here.
There you go. Got it. Yep. But you guys see this valley. So this is when we talk about Castle being so beautiful. And when we talk about going a little bit further south, well, having an extra exit is going to keep traffic nice and smooth. You're only adding another 4 minutes, 3 minutes to your drive just to get to that exit. But there's plenty of beautiful landscape, plenty of opportunity for new homes as well. So really excited for this.
Yeah. And when people ask, like, what do you mean about like the landscape? Like we'll say like the mountains come to you out here. Yeah. And reason being is because all of our other metro areas are flat, right? They're flat, normal metro areas. And you've got the mountain views, even a Sterling Ranch, you've got great mountain views, but your neighborhood is flat, right? With Castle Rock, like you can just see here as we're looking around, you've got the big rock.
Flat's probably aggressive. You're not going to get flat till you get east of Aurora. It's hilly. Talons Reach.
Sure. Yeah. But you don't have like,
you've got rolling
mountains
hills
in your backyard. You don't have like these big bluffs, big stones, like right here, like, correct. Like just look at all of these, like just peaks and valleys and these homes kind of nestled in these pine trees and
running altitude 3361. This is like your playground if you're an awesome runner, right?
Oh yeah, totally. So all of this stuff, guys, this is just in your backyard in Castle Rock, guys. And I still honestly, can't believe, how affordable these homes are out here. So to dive a little bit more into some specifics with Montaine and Crystal Valley that we have down here. Again, I mentioned Toll Brothers is the primary builder in Montaine. And then in Crystal Valley, you're going to have Taylor Morrison, Toll Brothers, Richmond. You've got a couple others that are building out there, but those are the primary ones. A lot of those guys have ridiculous interest rate incentives right now as well, in addition to just being open to negotiation on their quick move-in homes. We just got a question today. Hey, if there's a quick move-in home, is that price the price or can you negotiate? You can definitely negotiate. Right now, especially these places like Montaine, they're nearing their end of completion. They still have a bit to go, but they're almost done. They're motivated to, take below asking price offers in addition to their interest rate incentives. All the more reason why you guys, it is good to have that representation coming into these builders, because we're the ones that can have those tough conversations with the builder for you to really maximize your savings there.
Yeah. And we want to help you guys with your calculations when you're trying to save money. Taking 10 grand off of your mortgage isn't necessarily as powerful as adjusting some rates or just negotiating some things on your rate. So overall, the math on that is super important. But either way, these are awesome. I'm glad we're covering these tonight.
Yeah. So we have one more area we are going to share with you guys here. Let me go ahead and jump back to my screen share before we wrap up here. So here we are in Castle Rock. What we are going to do is let me trace this because this is important. We are going to head out of Castle Rock here, and we are going to take what's known as Crowfoot Valley, sort of out of Castle Rock. And now we're going to start crossing into Parker. Okay.
Now, before we get to Parker, just to answer that question, we focus a lot on new builds, but we do everything, brother. We do a lot of pre-existing. We help a lot of folks sell their pre-existing homes. A lot of our buyers buy pre-existing homes, but we also do a good amount as far as new build construction. And a lot of folks that are moving from out of state are curious about those. But when it comes to anything specifically with those area guides or the relocation guides that we have for you, we still do an absolute ton of your pre-existing homes. And a lot of those areas are the ones that have the best views because those pre-existing homes have been around a little bit longer. So if you're trying to stay more West Denver, those are going to majority be pre-existing homes. The majority of just Denver in general is all pre-existing. So still happy to help you with all that stuff as well.
Yeah. And I did throw up the QR code here to download our relocation guide, where we will highlight a lot of these communities in a lot of these areas and just give a lot of good information about moving to Colorado in general. So if you've not downloaded the relocation guide yet, go ahead and download that. But moving here into, and real quick, one more side note on that. The reason that new builds we're doing so many of those right now are just the interest rate incentives.
Right.
That's why we wanted to talk about the incentives that these guys are offering right now, because it is just literally you're saving $1,000 to $2,000 a month if you can get a 199 rate from some of these builders compared to a resale.
Well, they're adequate. They've got tall garages. They've got 3-car garages. Yeah. It's very Colorado-esque. I've got a truck. My truck needs to fit in the garage. No longer are the houses where your truck won't fit inside a garage. But what's great about the economy in Colorado and how well it's held is people that are getting in early with their new builds, they still have equity in these homes. A lot of them still have some profit after they sell after 3 to 5 years. So I don't recommend selling a new build in 3 years. Right? Keep it, use it. It's brand new. It's under warranty for 10 years, foundational. You've got some other things that are great about it when it comes to your warranties, but definitely rate. But we've got a strong economy here when it comes to our housing, and people have done really well with those.
Mm-hmm. So these two communities here are on the west side of Parker. Okay, we've got hold on.
I love this guy. Listen, I got to talk to Egghead Warrior on a different night. I know. Listen, I will say, in defense of Californians, just my and Eli's personal experience, the ones that are moving out of California to here, they're moving out of California for a reason. I think you might like them. They've been pretty awesome from what we've seen so far. But I had to respond.
It's true. It's true. Chances are, if you're coming from California to Colorado, you're more of the Colorado mindset than the California mindset. At least that's been our experience.
And look, there's some things there you can swing either way. We tend to call Colorado purple, not to get too political, but you've got both sides of the fence here in Colorado. Mm-hmm. Everybody tends to be outdoor and exercising and doing activities and doing their thing. You don't see an overflex as far as like one side or the other, and it really creating a hindrance in your own personal life or what you want to have for yourself, contrary to what maybe clickbait might tell you. If that were the case, you would not find myself and Eli here. We've had a great time with our families here.
Agree. Now, with Looking Glass that we have here, I wanted to bring this community up because, again, this is going to be a smaller community. They still have your clubhouse, community center, all of that, but it is on the east side of Parker, and it is a little more quiet out here. I'll bring up the Looking Glass website here so you guys can take a look at that. And it already went away, but the first pop-up that popped up here was rates as low as $199. Yeah. Absolutely insane. Now, Looking Glass, you're not going to have, the mountain views that you're going to have or that you would be able to find in Parker, but you are going to have beautiful views. Again, they are the Rocky Mountains. You can see them. Yes. But Looking Glass here, this is going to be, again, Douglas County schools. So the same schools as Sterling Ranch, same schools as Highlands Ranch, same schools as Castle Rock. Now, in here, you're going to see the community here where they do have some future sites, but it is significantly built out. There still is a lot to come. And out here, you do have a good variety of builders. One of the ones that comes up to mind, we're doing a transaction with them right now. It's called Dream Finders. We've got a client moving in there, and he's right at about $850. It's a huge home. It's almost 5,600 square feet. It backs to a park. And his rate is starting his first year at $199. They have 2 more homes in the community with that $199 incentive on there. But again, it's just it's crazy how low they're going on these interest rates on these homes. And the high school out here, this does feed into Ponderosa, since we're talking high schools and stuff like that today. That's where I went to school, and I'm an astronaut, right? So that's pretty good. Ponderosa is great. Just pumping out astronauts left and right. Good sports team. They do pretty well academically, but they're good with their football and wrestling and things like that.
I mean, this is like, and correct me if I'm wrong, Eli, this is the school you went to, and I'm just going to try to use some terms here, but like Ponderosa High School, like that surrounding area is kind of like as country as you're going to get for the Denver Metro. You've got farms out there. You've got horses. They've got a bull riding and like rodeo club. So like they actually have high school athletes at rodeo in addition to playing football and baseball. So you're going to see some things that maybe you'd see down south. You're going to see some of that in Parker, Colorado. It's also like it's South Parker. Ponderosa High School is. You're a little bit more to the west in Looking Glass, but it's a little bit slower pace than what you guys are going to see in Castle Rock. Castle Rock has the outlets. It can get fast paced on the weekends. People love going there. Nothing wrong with that, especially as you move into South Castle Rock, you're going to have some great, space from that. But, Parker tends to just be a little bit more home front, like country living per se. You've got the farms out there, and people tend to just be a little bit more low key and do their thing, but it's a great spot. Looking Glass has been around for a little while now, and I'm glad it's really starting to take off.
Yeah, and good question here. So Tender Aviation asked, he said, first year, $199. What does it raise to at the highest? The highest is $399. So it's $199 your first year, $299 your second year. Third year, it goes $399, and then it's fixed there from years 3 through 30. So he's never going to refi. It's never going to be better than $399. He's locked into that. There's never going to be a reason, but it does cap out of that. So it's not like it's 199 and then goes all the way up to 6, capped at 399, which is awesome.
How ironic that we call you an astronaut and then Thunder Aviation is asking you a question. Like, are you questions that you can answer? Because I've been talking to everybody else, distracting you all night.
I know it's just that pilot talk of ours.
No, it's a great question, guys. And again, like it's a great program. 3-1 buy downs, 2-1 buy downs, especially when they're starting that low. Even if you were to start at a 3.9, 4.9, 5.9, like that's still better than what rates are at right now. 5.9 is still really solid if you can have it land in the mid 4s, but to land at a 3.9 at its highest is incredible. But again, these are not ARM rates. They're not on any arms or anything like that. These are fixed for those years, and that's where it'll continue from 3 to 30. So definitely some great things. Now, I mentioned earlier that mortgage applications are up 30%. They're going to continue to grow, and they're going to continue to go up. What we've seen from builders, just in the past 9 years of doing real estate, is as more demand happens, they just have slightly less incentives. Am I concerned for 2026 and builders not having incentives? No, because they still have inventory and they're still on the books for all this other inventory that they're on the books to continue to build, and they're under contract with these master plan committees. They have to build them. So they're only going to continue to have more inventory. I'm not concerned if you guys are buying now or a year from now. Are you going to get that 1.9 6 months from now? Probably not to start on like on a 3.1 or a 2.1, but you're still going to find some competitive rates. They're still going to be low. So if you guys are looking at buying now or, within 2026, I'm not necessarily concerned as far as like a couple of years ago when we had 2% interest rates, you weren't getting anything from builders. They weren't giving, there was nothing, Nathan, nada. And it's almost to a point where it frustrates you, but that's just the business that they're in. If they don't have to incentivize to keep inventory moving at a certain pace, they won't. They have a certain pace. They want inventory offloaded and sold, and they want to keep their pace for their builds. They're going to marry up incentives to keep that pace going. But again, I think 2026 through and through is still going to be a great time, and there shouldn't be a huge concern on rates with new builds.
Yeah. So guys, as we're starting to wrap this up, there's a QR code on the screen. That's just to jump on a 30-minute Zoom call with us. Yep. And like Will said, whether it's a year from now or whenever, this is really our first chance to connect with you guys one-on-one. Take 30 minutes, discuss what you're looking for in Colorado, what's potentially bringing you out here, and really almost do what we're doing on these lives just for you personally. Find out what you're looking for in a neighborhood, what's important to you, and then find out if through our videos, any areas are of interest, give our 2 cents on those areas. And then also, hey, if there's anything you're not thinking of, we'll be able to give you some insights on that as well. And then connect you with our local lender if it makes sense at the time to start having those conversations. And really just, this is your first point of contact to start just exploring your options when it comes to moving to Colorado.
Areas are important. You guys can change a backsplash in a kitchen. You can change wallpaper. You can change paint. You can't change the area that you live in. And if you just find a home that you fall in love with, but you don't like that town or that city or whatever it may be because we didn't do our due diligence, you're just, no matter what that home looks like or feels like, if you don't like the area, it's a struggle, right? So we want to make sure we do our homework on the front end. Last question before we let you guys go. What about the concern of dropping home values in Denver? I'm so glad you're asking this. Everything that you see dropping, hey, have you seen decreases in price? 100%. And that's just from people with low interest rates and overzealous ambitions overpricing their home. So you're almost seeing like a fake drop. People are trying to sell their homes at a certain price, and then they're cutting their prices 10 grand, 15 grand, 25 grand to get it sold, but it never should have started here anyway. So when you hear in the news talk about it and, hey, Denver's down 10%, 8%, well, a lot of it's smoke and mirrors because technically we are down because they listed their home at a certain price and then they decreased the price back to where it should have been in the first place. So a lot of it is just, it's almost like a false negative because of where it was at in the first place and things like that. What you're really seeing from our data, from what we see when we analyze these things every week, is home prices are going back to where they should have been in the first place, where they're just more accurate. We had a huge influx of homes at lower interest rates where they were going for 100, 150, 200 grand over asking price during the low interest rate boom. Well, that had to self-correct itself, and we all knew that was coming. Interest rates go high. They went a little higher than we all thought. Think they were creeping up on 8%. We sold less homes across the entire country the past 3 years than the 2008 housing market crash. So there was no crash because of no foreclosures, low foreclosures and certain things that make crashes. People just stopped buying because of high interest rates. Well, people had a low interest rate that were owners on those homes, and they were just getting overzealous and they were just overpricing their homes to begin with. And you just saw this thing happen at the top. So technically, can you call it a decrease from where the price was set by the realtor and by the homeowner? Yeah. they're actually just coming down to be more accurate where they should have been. And the reason why I'm saying this is because they're more accurate to where they were at before the interest boom happened. So you can kind of see how things, if you look at it on a graph, you can actually see how they're almost like reacclimating themselves to where they should have been in the first place. So we're still super positive. I know we're partial because we're in Denver, we're in Colorado, but we're also super positive for what we see there. And obviously, Eli, anything that you want to add to that as well?
Yeah. And if I have any insight to share there, one of the conversations that we have with our sellers right now, when it does come to pricing is, 3 years ago, people were looking for a home in Colorado. Now people are looking for a deal in Colorado. So when it comes to pricing your homes, when you're looking at comparables, we'll have this conversation with our sellers all the time. You don't even want to be just on par with the comparables because you're just another home at that point. And we have inventory right now. So people are going to look at your home. They're going to look at 8 others. They might circle back in a couple weeks. They're just not on this tight timeline right now.
You got a proud homeowner with a low interest rate, and you got a ornery buyer that wants to deal because the market's slower.
So the key now is you've got to price your home as a deal. And frankly, buyers aren't offering on resale homes unless it looks like a deal compared to the other comparables that are out there. So that is part of why you're starting to see this price correction versus a dip or anything like that. I think homes it wasn't a bubble in COVID, but homes were artificially inflated. Straight up, we were having to offer $50,000, $75,000, $100,000 over asking price. And sellers that are selling now are trying to recoup that money back, and it's just not going to happen. So frankly,
not that soon. You're not going to get that level of appreciation that soon.
You're not. And I frankly, home prices do need to come down. If you go and you look at any of the top, anyone talking data and mortgages and things like that on YouTube, and then you go and look at the comments, there might be 1,000 comments on there and 900 of them are I'm not worried about interest rates. Home prices are just too dang high right now. Yeah. And I agree. Home prices have gotten too high. And frankly, I'm a fan of a drop because it is needed. And once we come into 2026, where I do think we will see more of a correction with interest rates in conjunction with lower home prices, I really think we're going to start coming back into a more balanced market where with higher interest rates, people aren't going to be offering $100,000 over asking price, but homes will be more affordable due to this natural correction that Will's talking about.
Agreed. And Egghead Warrior, hey man, throw me a direct message on Instagram if you like. If you look up Will Grimes or Will_Grimes, man, you were a lot of fun. I appreciate you. We'd love to connect. Anything we can do for your wife and family, happy to help. Tender Aviation, great questions, man. And sometimes, and this is why lives are so fun, Eli, that we're doing them once a week now, because sometimes, we're in this every day. And we're not necessarily thinking of every question, but, as you consumers are out there asking, and there's just a couple great questions that pop up, and you're very grateful that they do because they're great reminders, and they're overall just a lot of great things that people want to hear about, right? So definitely a lot of fun tonight.
Yeah. So, man, I appreciate you guys being here, taking your evening and spending it with us. We don't take that lightly. It really is fun. We do have a great time doing this. So keep an eye out for our upcoming video on Saturday, where we're talking about some cool new developments that are coming. We're doing a deep dive on those. And then we will see you here next Tuesday at 6:00 Mountain Time.
Yes, sir. And Aviation, you're most welcome, brother. Thank you for the great questions. Eli, love and appreciate you, brother. Another fun one in the books. I'm excited. We haven't not quite said what we're going to do live on the following week, but you guys are definitely not going to want to miss it. Yeah. Obviously, I'm partial because of us. But either way, if you guys have any insights on what you'd like us to cover, feel free to throw us a message on Instagram. Feel free to text that number that we've had up through the night. If there's anything you think we could cover for you, we definitely take feedback as far as like what could be important for you guys. We're definitely happy to cover it, especially on these lives. So definitely reach out and just let us know where we can help or be of value for you guys.
All right. You guys have a great night. We will see you next week.
Eli, I'm off to kids and a little bit more diet.